Panasonic or Sony? Decisions, right? It's really hard these days to make a decision in a mirrorless camera that has most of the things that you want. In one hand, we have the Panasonic S5, which is the cheaper camera, and in my opinion, it's just a better camera overall in terms of user experience and shooting. But unfortunately, the video autofocus is so-so compared to the Sony. There's not as many lenses available as there are for the Sony system. And of course, you have some caveats because of it being an entry-level full-frame camera. In the other hand, you have the Sony a7 IV, which is really great. It's a lot of camera, actually, for the price, but it's more expensive than the Panasonic, and it has all the caveats that the Sony cameras have, like the screen not being that great, the IBIS kind of sucking. Yeah, decisions, right, people? In this video, I'm gonna be comparing both of these cameras because they are, in my opinion, the best hybrid cameras currently on the market in the mirrorless world. So, if you want to see my thoughts on these cameras and which one I will choose, stay tuned for the video. Hello there guys, UNHOLY-OMEGA here, coming to you straight from my Panasonic G81, which is recording me right now. Just because I'm using a Panasonic does not mean Panasonic is gonna win. We'll see in the end, you'll see which camera I will choose. But yeah, like I was saying, the Panasonic S5 and the Sony a7 IV are the best overall cameras for the price, in my opinion, currently on the market. The Sony a7 IV actually released very recently. I also made a video, if you want to check it out, it's on the channel already. I made a video about my thoughts on that camera. And the Panasonic S5, while it's older, about a year or so, it released last year, it's still one of the best overall cameras for the price. And I think it's actually the best value, in my opinion, overall. Because even though it is lacking some things compared to the Sony, it also has many things which the Sony lacks. And I have right here on my laptop as well, I went to the camera decision site where you can compare cameras, one versus the other. Now, they can sometimes have some false information, they can have some errors, but overall I find them really reliable, and this is the site I use mostly when I like to compare the cameras. But I have right here the S5 and the a7 IV. So yeah, we're gonna quickly go over the main pros and cons of each camera and in this comparison, and the positives and negatives of each one. So starting with the positives of the Panasonic S5. First of all, you get live composite mode, which the Sony does not have. Now, I don't really care about this. This is not really meant for the type of shooting that I do, which is event coverage. I don't really care for this. The LCD screen resolution is better on the Panasonic, and like I said in the beginning, in the intro, Sony cameras really lack when it comes to the screen. Their screen resolution is not really the best, and their screens really suck. I don't know why Sony continues to come up with terrible screens on their cameras, being that they have such great phones in the Xperia line. I don't know why their cameras have terrible screens and continue to have terrible screens. Not only are they low resolution, they're also very small. But yeah. Then the sensor pixel area. The Panasonic has bigger pixel sensor area because of the low resolution. It's 24 megapixels compared to the Sony's 33 megapixels, but that's not really a major advantage in my opinion, because from what I've seen, the Sony a7 IV is just as good as the a7 III in low light, so there's not really much of a benefit in the increased sensor pixel area of the when it comes to the Panasonic. Now, one of the advantages of the Panasonic is the fact that it has pixel shift resolution, so you can have 96 megapixels shots with the Panasonic. So even though the Panasonic has low resolution at 24 megapixels, you can still have 96 megapixels. So in a way, it kind of is better when you really think about it, because the Sony, yes, it has higher resolution all the time, but then again, I don't think most people need 33 megapixels all the time, and the Panasonic having 24 megapixels means that it's gonna have smaller file sizes, and when you want to have larger prints, or when you want the highest resolution possible, you can just activate the pixel shift mode on the Panasonic. So that's a really awesome advantage for the Panasonic, that the fact that it has pixel shift, which the Sony lacks. I really wish Sony would have implemented pixel shift on the A7 IV. Unfortunately, it's only available on the R cameras, the high resolution series. Unfortunately, not on the A7 IV, so that's kind of a bummer. The Panasonic S5 also has 4K and 6K photo mode, which the Sony does not have. This is not really that beneficial in my opinion, but it can be nice sometimes to grab stills from video. It can really help sometimes. Now, another thing that Panasonic has which the Sony lacks is focus bracketing and focus stacking. This is really nice, especially for the macro shots, which I like to do a lot. Sony cameras do not have this. They continue to not implement focus bracketing or focus stacking. I know you can do that in post via some programs, but it's always nice to have that in the camera, so that's another positive for the Panasonic S5. And then the Panasonic S5 also has better autofocus in lower light. It can focus down to -6 EVs compared to the A7 IV, which goes to -4 EVs. But then again, the Sony does have a better autofocus system overall when it comes to video, so this is probably only really beneficial for the Panasonic when it comes to photo, because DFD autofocus, which the Panasonic has, is indeed better for photo, but it's only if you're doing a single point AF. If you're doing tracking or a video autofocus, the Sony is still gonna be better. So yeah, I don't really see this as being a major advantage of the Panasonic. Then we have the reasons to choose the Sony A7 IV. So the major advantage of the A7 IV, you have gyroscopic stabilization. Now this is something that the newer Sony cameras have started to introduce, but then again, I don't really see this as being a major positive, because if you know how Sony is, their IBIS really sucks. The stabilization in the Sony cameras really sucks, and this is mostly because of the smaller size of their bodies. Sony cameras are infamous for having terrible IBIS systems, and their stabilization not really on the level of the Panasonics or Nikon or Panasonic for that matter, or Canon. So yeah, they really lack in terms of the IBIS, so I don't really see this as being an advantage, really, in my opinion. The Panasonic is going to be much better than the Sony when it comes to stabilization, so if you really want to shake-free video, I would go for the Panasonic, of course. The Sony also has a little bit better viewfinder magnification, but then again, they're really trading blows when it comes to that. They're really on par with each other. There's not really much of a difference. The Sony has 33 megapixels, like I was saying. It's not really that major of an advantage when you consider the fact that the Panasonic does have pixel shift, so you can still have higher resolution with the Panasonic. But I guess the Sony is really nice if you need to use Super 35 mode, or if you want to crop in to APS-C mode. You can still have 15 or 16 or so megapixels, so that's nice. Then you also have better continuous tuning with the Sony. You have 10 frames per second versus the Panasonic, which is 7. This is not really that important for me because I don't really do sports shooting or stuff like that. But the Sony, even though it shoots at 10 frames per second, it's only in compressed RAW. On compressed RAW, I believe you can only shoot up to 5 frames per second. So yeah, it's not really that amazing, really. The focus points are much more on the Sony. You have 759 focus points compared to the Panasonic, which only has 225. So the Sony is gonna have much more focus points. So you in the frame, you're gonna be able to compose much better than the Panasonic. Like I was saying, the Sony is much better when it comes to video autofocus and tracking autofocus. The Panasonic is mostly better for single point AF. So if you really want to do some tracking, or if you want to do continuous autofocus, the Sony will be much better. The Sony also has better battery life. It's rated at 600 shots compared to the Panasonic, which is rated at 440 shots. Now, the CP ratings are never true to life. So even though they state these numbers, you can get much more shots probably. Definitely so. You can probably get the Sony up to 1000 shots or so. And another thing, one thing is battery life for video, the other is for photo. So even though the Panasonic is rated lower for photography, I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually on par, if not better, for video when it comes to battery life, because Panasonic cameras are pretty good when it comes to video battery life. And even though it's rated lower for photography, they still have economy mode. So if you have economy mode on, you can still get much more shots than what it stated. So there's that. The Sony has better viewfinder resolution, which is nice. It has 3690 3 million dots EVF compared to the Panasonic, which is only a little bit above 2 million dots. Now, I know Panasonic had to compromise somewhere to meet the price point for the S5. Unfortunately, the S5 lacks the 5 million dot EVF of the S1, the S1R, and the S1H. I wish they would have went with the 3 million dots of the G9. The G9, which is the Micro Four Thirds camera, has 3 million dots. The S5 unfortunately has only 2 million dots. The Sony has 3 million, so there's that. So the Sony is gonna have a high resolution EVF. So if you're like me and like to use the viewfinder more, you're gonna benefit more with the Sony, because it's gonna have a better resolution. You also have a better AE bracketing range with the Sony. It's not really that important in my opinion. With the Sony you have a full-size HDMI port, which is really beneficial for professional videographers. And if you want to do professional video, it's really nice to have. The Panasonic unfortunately does not have a full-size HDMI. It has a mini HDMI, I believe. So unlike the S1, the S1H, and the S1R, you're not really gonna benefit that much for video because it doesn't have a full-size HDMI. But then again, it's not really that important for me because I don't use the HDMI anyway. So yeah, there's that. And the other major positive of the Sony is the fact that it has animal Iaf tracking. But then again, I believe the Panasonic also has animal Iaf. I'm not really sure. Webcam function, I think the Panasonic also has that as well. Anti-flicker, I believe the Panasonic also has that. And you also have eye tracking focus in the Sony, but I believe the Panasonic also has that. Now, for some of the strengths of both of them, they both have IBIS, of course, but like I was saying in the video, the Panasonic IBIS is going to be much better. Now, the S5 is not on the level of the S1 or the S1H or the S1R, but it's definitely better than the Sony. They increased the Sony A7 IV, the IBIS up to 5.5 stops, so you get 0.5 stops now more with the Sony A7 IV, but still not on the level of the Panasonic, and it probably never will be, unfortunately. The Sony A7 IV, another advantage of the Sony A7 IV compared to the A7 III is that you now have full touchscreen implementation, just like the S5. You also have the new menu system, which they debuted with the A7S III, so there's that. You no longer get the confusing old menu system that you had with the other Sony cameras like the A7 III. They also added the flip-out screen. Finally, they have the flip-out screen in the A7 IV. So now you have the A7 IV with a flip-out screen. It's not on the same level as the Panasonic, but it's still the same size, 3 inch. But it's not on the same resolution, unfortunately. But at least there's that. You now have a selfie screen at least. So if you want to do videos like this for YouTube and vlogging, you have that. You have the flip-out screen, which is really nice. And then you also have both of them have a headphone and microphone port, so that's nice. Both of them also have environmental sealing. And they also have two SD card slots, so there's that. And they both like a built-in flash, but then again, who really cares? Professional photographers and videographers don't really need a built-in flash, and you're never gonna use the built-in flash probably anyway, because it really sucks for really low light. You might as well just increase the ISO and get better shots. Yeah, that was the pretty much a comparison of the S5 and the A7 IV. Now, which of these cameras would I choose? Honestly, I think if price was no option, I would go with the A7 IV, because even though it has some things lacking compared to the S5, like the IPS being worse, the screen not being as good, I still think the Sony is just a better future-proof camera, because not only do you get better video autofocus, you also get much more lens selection, and there's a lot of good options from third party from Tamron and Sigma and Samyang, and I believe that's the main benefit of going the Sony route, is that you have a lot of lenses to choose from. Not that the Panasonic lenses are bad. Panasonic has some really good lenses, like the 20-60 kit lens, which they have for the L mount. That's a really awesome lens. Also the 24-105 and stuff like that. But Sony overall just has much more lens selections, so there's that. The Sony also has some pretty cool things, like the clear image zoom, which is really awesome for video. They also have much better autofocus, which I believe I've already said, but yeah, they have much better autofocus, especially for video. You also have 33 megapixels. Like I was saying, it's really nice if you want to crop in, or if you want to shoot video and stuff like that. It's pretty nice to have. You don't get the pixel shift resolution, but then again, you have some caveats with the pixel shift resolution with the S5. So yeah, having 33 megapixels is just really nice, and the fact that it's not really worse in low light is just really awesome. The fact that they were able to increase the resolution and still come out with just as good low light performance is really nice. But yeah, if price was no subject, I will go with the A7 IV. But I still think the Panasonic S5 is still a better overall value for the money. It's cheaper than the Sony, and the kit lens is much better. The kit lens of the Panasonic is much better than the kit lens of the Sony. So overall, when you factor it in with the lens and the body, the S5 is just a better value in my opinion. You also have a lot of video tools which the Sony does not have, like zebras, focus picking, I believe, which the Sony lacks. You have a lot of stuff with the Panasonic. Both of them have unlimited recording, so that's nice. But the Sony does have unlimited recording in all modes, which the Panasonic unfortunately does not have in 10-bit or 4K mode. It does not. It unfortunately has a 3-minute limit. The Sony does have some advantages when it comes to video as well, but overall they're pretty much on par with each other when it comes to video quality and video specs. But I just find the Panasonic a little bit better when it comes to ergonomics and overall user experience. I prefer Panasonic, so that's the main reason why I would go with Panasonic, because I just find the Panasonic system overall a better shooting experience. But the Sony is no slouch, and even though it's more expensive than the Panasonic, I still think it's really worth it over the A7 III. And if money is no subject, I would go with the Sony for sure. But yeah, guys, that was my take on this comparison, the Panasonic S7 and the A7 IV. I would really love to have one of these cameras. I so would love to have a full frame camera. I've always wanted a full frame camera. I could get any of these cameras. I have the money for that, but I'm not really getting paid for this stuff, and for the time being, I still do not have a really flexible job, you could say. I still don't have a really how can I say, a really certain like a definitive job and stuff like that, so I can't really be spending that much money. Okay, I would love to have one of these, like I said, but for the time being, I still cannot really get them, because I will just be wasting a lot of money and not really get much out of it. So yeah, but if you're on the market for a full frame camera, I will definitely go look into these two options, especially if you're a hybrid shooter like me. If you shoot a lot of photos and videos. If you only do photography, I would still say the Nikon Z5 is the best overall value for photography only. But if you're doing hybrid shooting, if you want to do photos and videos, these will be the two best choices in my opinion, especially because they have unlimited recording, which the Nikon lacks. So yeah, if you do not need full frame, you have the Panasonic G9, which is still the best overall value for less than $2,000. But the S5 is just so much better in my opinion compared to the G9. So I will still go that extra mile for the S5, especially when you factor in the kit lenses, because the G9 with the kit lens at 12-60 comes out at about almost the same price as the S5 with the kit lens. So yeah, money being no subject, I will go with the S7 IV. If you're on a budget, or if you don't really, if you're like me and you don't really like Sony cameras, because I hate Sony cameras. Yeah, I really hate Sony cameras. And if you want to have better IBIS and better screen and better ergonomics, I would go with the S5, especially with the kit lens at 22-60, which is a really awesome kit lens. And you're probably not gonna have to upgrade that lens, because it's just an awesome lens. But yeah, that was my take, guys. I don't wanna make the video too long, so yeah, that's it. I would go with the Panasonic S5. Yeah, I will go with the Panasonic, because I just find the Panasonic system overall much better. But if money was no subject, I would want to future-proof, I will definitely go with the Sony. I would still like to have two cameras. That will still be my best advice, is to have two cameras, one for photography and one for video. But if you only want one camera, I would definitely look at one of these. All right. So yeah, guys, that was it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more camera related videos like this, you can visit the channel. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, or dislike what you thought. And sorry about some of the autofocus problems. Probably I don't have my glasses on right now, but so I can't really tell. But I think the Panasonic might be going out of focus sometimes when I move. I don't know, because the G81 is not really that great out of focus. So in case my face went out of focus, sorry about that. But you know how Panasonic is, right, for video. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated when I release new content. And I'll see you guys in the next one, alright? So Unholy-OMEGA signing out. Stay safe out there. Keep on shooting. And above all, invest in gear. Because that's what makes a good photograph, alright? Also the person behind the camera, of course. But the gear does make a difference, alright? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Unholy-OMEGA signing out. Peace. Ciao, ciao. Oh, and by the way, Sony, congrats on the A7 IV. It's a really nice camera. And Panasonic, please release an S1 Mark II with the same button layout and ergonomics as the S1H. Alright? The S5 is really nice, but then again, I would still like to see an S1 with all the improvements that the S5 has, because that body is just really nice. The IBIS just really rocks on that camera, right? So yeah, hopefully we get some more camera releases next year. This was a pretty nice year for photography overall and for video. So yeah, that's it, guys. Ciao, ciao. This time for real.